Welcome to Hayle, where the waters tell 1,000 stories. From industrial powerhouse to natural sanctuary, this Cornish gem has transformed over centuries while never losing its soul. What happens when the tides of industry recede, when the hammers fall silent and nature reclaims what was once hers? Here at Hayle Estuary, we witness one of Britain's most remarkable ecological comebacks. In the 1800s, Hayle was the throbbing heart of Cornwall's industrial revolution. The harbour, once one of Britain's busiest ports, dispatched mining equipment and innovations to every corner of the globe. The clanging of metal, hissing of steam, and shouts of dock workers filled the air where today we hear only bird calls and the gentle lapping of waves. But as we'll discover, this story isn't simply about decline and rebirth. It's about the remarkable resilience of both human communities and natural ecosystems. It's about how one place can hold two seemingly contradictory identities: industrial powerhouse and wildlife sanctuary. Today, over 18,000 birds make this estuary their home throughout the year. But how did we get here? To understand the Hayle of today, we must first dive into its fascinating past. The year is 1840 and Hayle is booming. Harvey's foundry and the Cornish Copper Company are locked in fierce competition, transforming this once quiet fishing village into an industrial titan. The harbour's being shaped and reshaped by human hands, its channels deepened, its banks reinforced with stone. At its peak, Hayle was shipping Cornish beam engines and mining equipment to Mexico, South America and Australia. The harbour was a forest of masts, with ships waiting their turn to load cargo created by the skilled hands of Hayle's foundrymen and engineers. A local historian said,
"What made Hayle special wasn't just the scale of industry, but its innovation. Harvey's was creating some of the world's most powerful steam engines right here. The harbour wasn't just busy, it was essential to global mining operations. In many ways, Hayle helped power the Industrial Revolution worldwide."
And when industry retreated, nature began a remarkable return that would eventually transform this place into something entirely new. The dawn of the 20th century brought changes that would forever alter Hayle's destiny. The Cornish mining industry began its terminal decline, and with it the demand for Hayle's engineering prowess. By the 1970s, most of Hayle's industrial operations had ceased. Harvey's foundry, once employer to over 1,000 people, fell silent. The busy quaysides emptied. Ships no longer queued to enter the harbour. An elderly resident recalling Hayle's industrial decline says,
"It was heartbreaking to watch. Generations of my family had worked at Harvey's. When it closed, it wasn't just jobs that were lost, it was our identity. We wondered what would become of Hayle."
As human activity retreated, the estuary began to heal. The channels that had been dredged for ships gradually silted up. Twice daily, the tide transformed the landscape, revealing vast mudflats rich in nutrients and marine life. These mudflats might not look impressive to the human eye, but they're incredibly productive ecosystems. Each square metre can contain thousands of marine worms, crustaceans and molluscs, a veritable feast for wading birds. And the birds were quick to discover this bounty. First in small numbers, then in flocks that darkened the sky, they came to Hayle. Curlews, with their distinctive downward curved bills, probing deep for buried lugworms, redshanks darting nervously across the shallows, oyster catchers with their striking black and white plumage and bright orange bills. We had an interview with an early conservationist who recognised Hayle's potential.
In the 1980s, we began to realise what was happening here. While people mourned the loss of industry, something remarkable was occurring. Hayle was becoming one of Cornwall's most important sites for migratory birds. We knew we had to protect it.
In 1986, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds established a nature reserve here, recognising the estuary's crucial role for both resident and migratory birds. Hayle's position on the southwestern tip of Britain makes it a critical stopover for birds migrating along the Atlantic coast. Birds travelling between breeding grounds in the Arctic and wintering areas in Africa depend on sites like this to rest and refuel. But Hayle's transformation wasn't complete. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, debates raged about the future of the harbour. Should it be redeveloped for tourism, maintained as a working port, or further protected for wildlife? There were community meetings and planning debates. Like many post-industrial communities, Hayle had to reimagine its identity and future. The tensions between development, heritage preservation and conservation created complex challenges. A local council representative had this to say.
We had to balance so many different interests. Jobs and economic growth mattered tremendously to a community that had suffered from industrial decline, but we also recognized the unique ecological and historical value of Hayle. Finding that balance wasn't easy.
Slowly, a new vision for Hayle began to emerge, one that honoured its industrial past while embracing its natural present. Heritage trails were established. Interpretive panels explained the historical significance of rusting machinery, and crucially, the value of the estuary as a natural asset became increasingly recognised. As birdwatching grew in popularity, Hayle became a destination for a different kind of visitor. People came not to load cargo or build engines, but to witness the spectacular diversity of bird life that the estuary now supported. Today, Hayle Estuary stands as a testament to nature's remarkable ability to recover and to humanity's capacity to change course. Over 18,000 birds now use this estuary throughout the year, with winter bringing particularly spectacular gatherings. Teal, the UK's smallest duck, gather in hundreds during winter months. Little egrets, once rare visitors to Britain, are now common sights, their snowy plumage stark against the muddy backdrop. Ospreys stop by during migration seasons, hunting for grey mullet in the channels. In an interview with the RSPB reserve manager, they said,
"What makes Hayle special is its diversity. We have deep water channels, expansive mudflats, salt marsh, and freshwater pools. Each habitat supports different species and creates this incredible mosaic of wildlife opportunities."
The RSPB Reserve now welcomes thousands of visitors annually. Children who may never have noticed a bird beyond a garden robin find themselves entranced by the aerial displays of wading birds at high tide. Photographers capture intimate moments of wildlife behaviour, and researchers continue to monitor population trends, building our understanding of these complex ecosystems. The scientific value of Hayle extends far beyond its boundaries. The estuary serves as an early warning system for environmental changes occurring thousands of miles away. But Hayle's story continues to evolve. The town itself has experienced regeneration, with new businesses, homes and facilities being developed. The challenge remains how to balance human needs with environmental protection. Recent years have seen significant investment in Hayle, including controversial harbourside developments. These have sparked debates about the potential impacts on both the historical character of the area and its ecological health. In an interview with a local environmental activist, they said,
"We need development in Hayle. People need homes and jobs, but it has to be done sensitively. Once these habitats are damaged, they're incredibly difficult to restore. We need to consider the long-term value of this natural asset."
it has been a grand scheme of rejuvenation with many luxury living apartments and high-end retail spaces planned. Unfortunately, in 2024, many companies behind the development collapsed, so what should have been shops and open spaces by the waterside have yet to be completed. Computerized video showed exciting results. Talks continue. All we can hope for is a happy conclusion. What's encouraging is the growing recognition that Hayle's natural environment represents not just ecological value, but economic opportunity. Ecotourism, educational visits, and research activities all contribute to the local economy while preserving the estuary's integrity. There's at least one local business owner who benefits from nature tourism.
When I opened my cafe, I wasn't sure if we'd get enough customers year-round. But the bird watchers come in all seasons. They're here at dawn for the best sightings. Then they need breakfast. It's created a sustainable business for us.
As the tide ebbs and flows twice daily, it serves as a reminder of nature's rhythms and resilience. The landscape of Hayle is never static. It changes hour by hour, season by season, decade by decade. The story of Hayle is ultimately one of adaptation and renewal, from fishing village to industrial powerhouse, from post-industrial decline to ecological haven. This place has continually reinvented itself while maintaining its essential character. The rusted remnants of industry now stand as monuments alongside the natural spectacle of thousands of birds in flight. Rather than erasing its past, Hayle has incorporated it into a new identity, one that values both heritage and habitat. As day turns to dusk at Hayle Estuary, the final birds arrive to roost. The waters that once carried ships laden with Cornish engineering now reflect the crimson sky and the silhouettes of herons and egrets. The transformation is complete yet ongoing. What Hayle teaches us is that decline isn't necessarily an end point. Sometimes it's simply a turning point. And in the spaces where human industry retreats, nature often finds a way to create something equally valuable, equally worth protecting. The birds of Hayle don't know its industrial history. They come for the rich feeding grounds and safe roosting sites. But we humans can appreciate both stories, the engineering innovations that once shaped the modern world and the remarkable ecological recovery that now offers hope for the future. As we leave Hayle today, perhaps we'll see it differently, not just as a pleasant place to watch birds or explore maritime heritage, but as a living example of resilience and renewal. A reminder that even in places shaped by centuries of human use, nature can return, recover, and thrive.